do you want to know if your client is guilty or not in order to, I mean, would you prefer to know if they're guilty or not? Or how do you approach that?
Yeah, and there's two schools of thought with defense counsel. A lot of defense counsel don't want to know. They want to bury their head in the sand and say, well, don't tell me if you actually did it. I fundamentally disagree with that. I don't subscribe to that. The best source of information is my client. That's the advantage that we have over the prosecution. The prosecution doesn't have access to the accused. And so if they did it, I need to know about it because I need to know exactly what happened and how it happened so I can properly defend it. I can't defend someone if I don't know what exactly happened. I'm guessing. No different than if you were to go to the doctor and you have some ailment, but the doctor doesn't exactly want to know what's wrong with you. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if you had a chest, your chest was hurting, and you went in and you didn't realize, or you didn't know if you had a heart problem, a lung problem. You knew you had some problem, but the doctor really didn't want to know about it. Well, you wouldn't get the right treatment. I mean, it just sounds, it's almost taken to the level of absurdity, but I can't shy away from the fact that if my client did it, he did it. That's fine. He's still entitled to a defense. And just because he did X crime, the government's probably charging with X, Y, and Z, plus A, B, C, D, and E on top of that. And I need to know exactly what happened so I can defend against it. Otherwise, it's oftentimes we're walking into an ambush. I don't know exactly what I'm fighting. I don't know what I'm facing. And so a client needs to tell their attorney under attorney-client confidentiality exactly what happened, whether they want to or not. It's not that I won't be able to defend you. I absolutely will. Where people get convicted oftentimes is when they're not honest with a lawyer, or lying to them and telling them something they're giving them the BS story they want the jury to hear. And if we don't know the real story, we can't present it necessarily. And oftentimes that's going to lead to dire consequences because those type of lies often get unearthed very, very quickly in a jury trial. And that's when we end up going home and flying home and the client heads off to the brig or the regional confinement facility. So absolutely want to know. I am 100% a believer, and I teach counsel, you need to know. And if you don't want to know or you can't handle that, you're in the wrong line of work.
Because of what they're being charged with, sometimes even your client might not know if they're guilty or not guilty, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Am I actually guilty to what they're charging me, or that type of thing?
You raise a great point. I mean, I had a client that was charged with maiming. I mean, what is maiming? It sounds very medieval. I mean, essentially, he got into a bar fight. Someone attacked him, and he fought back, and there were some marks that were left on the individual's face. And so the question becomes, he's charged with maiming. Well, what is maiming? It's something I don't see that very often. It's very medieval. And so the client may be very much, did I do that? I mean, I got into this fight, I defended myself. Am I guilty of maiming? And so I need to know exactly what happened, what was told to him, how the fight started, whether he started the fight or didn't start the fight, whatever that happens to be, I need to know about it so I can properly defend him and say, yes, you are guilty of that, or no, you're not. And if you are, then here's the defense. And there's a million examples of that often with assaults, and sexual assaults, another really big one that comes up too, saying, well, I was drinking and she was drinking, we were both intoxicated. She was consenting, or certainly appeared to be consenting. We had sex. And then the next day she says, I don't remember what happened. Did I sexually assault her? And that is about as grave an area as you can possibly get. And, what was the level of intoxication? How was she acting? How were you acting? Did she have the mental facilities or the faculties to consent? Is there a mistake of fact as to consent? So you have all these issues that are out there that I need to know about to know if my client even committed the crime or not.